So I want to start with putting in one more bird so that you can see a little more clearly how I paint my birds. So I have, it's going to be echoing the same position as the other one. A very simple shape. You can use a Posca pen or you can use paint. I'm going to use a bit of paint. I might make this guy yellow. Just right, oops, that's too much water. Grab a bit of tissue and mop it up. And right, the next thing I want to get on with is the guitar. Now the guitar is more or less a real full-size guitar rather than a ukulele. It's more or less the same size as the body in some ways because it's designed that way to be held. And oops, that's a little down. Don't worry if you go over the leaves because I'm going to put that back. Now, and I'll come back to the bird in a little while. I always think of Picasso when I do my guitars, when I paint my guitars. He's probably my favourite painter. And of course Matisse painted guitars, women playing them. My family are all musicians, so guitars have always played a huge part in my life. And there, I'm just going to pop in the basic shape. It isn't going to remain yellow. It will be glazed a sort of orange amber colour that I like to put down a very strong foundation for each item or element that I paint. This has got a lot of texture coming through from the below, which actually is really nice. A little bit more paint. There we go for now. So just putting in some detail, very simple amount of detail into the bird. The brown Posca pen. I'm going to put a little bit on the underbelly. On the feet, on the leg. I'm going to get a bit of blue now. That's me pumping the pen. Sorry, it's too much paint coming out. Pumped too much, that's something you have to be careful of. That hasn't worked. Right, okay, so in a way this is good. We need to show what to do when you don't do something right. Just take some tissue and dab, 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 dab. It's just some some damp tissue. Okay. So, okay, what I'm going to do is going to take a tiny brush instead. The pens are too thick. As you can see, I'm just gently doing the feathers, like down here. Sometimes it works straight away, sometimes it doesn't. I'm going back over it again. I might make the feathers a little more fanned out at the bottom for him or her. And she needs an eye. Oh, there you go. It's done it again. Oh dear. Quite like that actually. It's nice. It's made her head a little bit darker. Pen and eye. Yes, it's worked more or less. Is it going to bleed out? If it does, I shall so now I've got my Posca pen to behave itself a little more. I just needed to pump it and test it out on a piece of paper rather than just putting it straight onto this canvas paper and getting the detail. This guy is going to be, or girl, is going to be very I do want a little more white picked out, and I hope this works. Just like this one, what would be better if once the yellow has dried more, is to add the detail more. Oops, that's too. I'm going to put a bit more detail in when the yellow bird is dried, but for now I'm leaving her as she is. Now for the guitar, I have a base of solid yellow, and I've mixed some burnt umber with yellow, which is a nice guitar colour, and I'm putting that over my yellow, as you can see. If you have got a guitar, it would be good to copy it or paint from life as much as possible if you want. If you haven't, just look it up on Google Images and Find one you like. Such a feminine shape, and it goes the shape of the mountains as well as the shape of the couple. And once that's dried, I'm going to start sketching in or drawing in the detail of the whole guitar. Also, I feel like it's time to glaze the moon a little. So I'm gonna actually do so just a little. See if this works or not. If it doesn't, then there's no harm done. It'll just... Now what I need you, before you do this, is I want you to get a big dry brush, big flat dry brush. I have something here right now called a dusting brush. I've had it for years, from when I used to be a muralist and marbler. And you just drag that across, just to give it a glaze, so that it's not so bright. Maybe a little bit more, methinks. It gives it an antique-y feel as well. Sometimes. So that's quite... So get the brush, the dry brush, and dusting brush. But you can also use just an ordinary household painting brush, such as this. I just love to use my dusty brush because it's part of me, really, part of my history. And it was very expensive, and it lasts and lasts. So actually the painting itself is a little less bright than the camera's picking up. So I'm going to allow this to dry and then start the drawing of the guitar.